30 Odd Minutes is sponsored in part by Digital Dowsing. Who are you powered by?
For the next 30 minutes, we will explore the unexplained. From mysteries beyond our galaxy to ghostly phenomena in our own backyard, we will dive into our psychic abilities and explore everything from conspiracies to the just plain weird. Welcome to 30 Odd Minutes. If the truth is out there, we will find it. But only by sheer accident.
Hey! Yeah. Welcome to 30 Odd Minutes. It's great to have you here aboard the mothership. We have set her down across time and space right onto the set of the movie The Exorcist. Who can forget that? We're going to be talking about not so much the movie, but the case behind the movie that we all still know and love so much. But of course, I want to say hello to the crew. Andrew Lake, how are you this evening?
Not too bad, Jeff. Matt's down in the galley, beating his face again, but I've got everything under control.
All right. Well, thank you for flying solo tonight. Hey, anything going on? What's up this week?
Yeah, let's check the printer. Okay, what do we have here? It says, hello to Yellow Springs Community Access in Ohio, Channel 5. That's great. The next time the mothership passes by your way, we'll make sure to stop by with some presents.
Yay, Channel 5.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
And we've got a very interesting email. It says, Dear 30 Odd Minutes, I don't know if anyone else has noticed the orb that appears to enter Sarah's head as she is reading out emails at the beginning of Travis Walton. That would be Mission 41 for you guys at home. It happens directly after she says the word phantasmagorical. Check it out and let me know if I am right. Thank you and hope to hear from you soon. Bye for now. And that was Carol that sent that to us. Let's check this out.
So we have one from a Matt Cunningham who said, this was fantastical Magoria. I'm totally using that word now. Fantastical Magoria.
Yeah, that's a pretty good catch. People are paying attention at home.
Excellent. All right. Hey, first moment of silence for Sarah, who, of course, was lost in our teleportation accident. Sorry, Sarah. Be strong. Good to see Oddbot, too. I wonder if he had anything to do with it. Strange.
I don't know. He was kind of lurking around near the energy matter pods.
That was indeed strange, indeed strange. Okay, so exorcism. It can affect people from all different walks of life, all backgrounds, religious and otherwise. It can even affect our own Dr. Dreck.
Oh, greetings, oddballs. Dr. Dreck here. We're talking about exorcisms and possession, and I seem to have a little possession problem myself right now. I wish somebody could help me because my arm is possessed and I need an exorcist. I never heard of partial body possessions, but I seem to have one. And unfortunately, I've been possessed by the spirit of Mohawk, of the Three Stooges, and I just need some help. I'm really scared. What? You don't believe me, huh? You don't? All right, just don't believe me, huh? All right, watch. I'll let go of it.
This is all your fault, you.
Get up. You nitwit. Remind me to kill you later.
Oh, you see what I mean? Somebody help me! Help me! I'm scared.
Quiet, coward.
It's getting really weird.
That guy doesn't have it easy down there in the lab, does he?
No, that's why we never let him out of the lab. Thank you, Dr. Dreck. All right. Who can forget William Peter Blatty's horror masterpiece, The Exorcist? It's the tale of demonic possession, the brave priests who faced the devil head-on, and the price they paid. But did you know The Exorcist was based on a real case? Back in 1949, a young boy went through an exorcism in Baltimore and St. Louis, and the priest's diary on the process reads like a horror novel. Tonight's guest is here to tell us all about it. He's the author of the book Possessed, which documents the exorcism case. He's a regular contributor to National Geographic magazine. He's written numerous books on American history. You've seen him on the History Channel, Discovery, National Geographic, and tonight he's making his 30-odd minutes debut. Please welcome, live from Maryland, Thomas B. Allen. How are you, sir? Thank you. Can you hear me? Oh,
Yes, sir.
All right, it's good to have you here. Let's start the movie The Exorcist. We've all seen it, a horror classic, an incredible story. But this is based on a real case. Can you take us back to 1949 and tell us about where all this started?
Well, it was a young boy. He was about 14, or he was 12. It was when the first signs started to come in. He was alone in a house with his mother and grandmother when they started hearing strange sounds in the walls of the house. It was as if there was something tracking through the house. Also, a couple of paintings along the walls. When the mother and father of the boy, whom I call Robbie, when they heard about this, they called in an exterminator, assuming that it was all to do with mice. That turned out the exterminator couldn't find any trace of mice. Next thing they tried, they were both Lutheran. They took the boy to a Lutheran minister. The Lutheran minister said, "Let me spend the night with the boy in my house and let me just observe him." It so happened that the minister was a great believer in extrasensory perception, and he assumed that the boy had some kind of power that gave him the ability to move objects, for instance.
Okay.
Well, he spent one night at the minister's house, and the minister gave up on it. He saw something that was more beyond anything he had anticipated. And he said, "You better take the boy to a Catholic priest, because the Catholics know about this sort of thing."
Right.
There's a little footnote to that. When Martin Luther founded Lutheranism and Protestantism, he essentially got rid of the concept of exorcism, in which a Catholic priest could take a demon out of a person who was possessed. So he knew that this still lingered in the Catholic Church. The family then took the boy to a Catholic priest. Put him into Georgetown University Hospital, tied him to, or had him confined to a bed and held down by straps, and began an exorcism. The boy reached under the mattress, broke off a piece of spring, and stabbed the priest in the arm. And that ended that exorcism.
Right.
A little while later, a few days later, the boy, started, things were starting to appear on his chest. And when the mother saw it, she felt that what she was seeing was St. Louis. They had relatives in St. Louis, and both she and the boy took this to mean they should go to St. Louis to get this completed. In St. Louis, an older cousin who was going to St. Louis University, Jesuit University, told one of her Jesuit instructors what was going on with their young cousin. And the Jesuit said, "Well, I'll drop by and take a look." And when he went to the house, he felt that there was something disturbing in the house. And he went to the Archbishop, which is the procedure, and said that there should be an exorcism performed. And the Archbishop said, "Okay, you're the guy." And he had never done an exorcism before and knew little about it. Being a Jesuit, was a little bit more intellectual about things like that. But nevertheless, he realized that the boy was in trouble. And he later said it all reduced to helping someone.
Right.
And he felt the boy needed help. And so set up an exorcism.
Now, we've done shows we've done shows on exorcism in the past. And, this is the Catholic Church doesn't just give these things out. That's not their go-to. There's a whole process. It's, there's usually medical doctors, psychiatrists, like you said, going to the archdiocese and so on, before they authorize something like this. So they felt that there was enough evidence here that they should proceed, correct?
Yeah, this was back in 1949. At that time, the Church's protocols for this did not include going to a psychiatrist.
Okay.
Today, there would be a series of At that time, the Archbishop said yes and no, and the exorcism began. In this case, was Father Bowden, who was a Jesuit, and characteristically, he went right to the books to see what this was all about. He read the very few accounts he could find about exorcisms, and he decided that when he started this exorcism, he would keep a diary, day by day, everything that happened. And later I obtained a copy of that diary.
How did you get that copy?
The diary is the basis of my book.
How did you, I know your book is centered around that. How did you get it?
The whole diary.
Sorry, we're having a little audio hang up.
In that, yeah. Okay.
How did you get a copy of that diary?
I'm sorry. Excuse me. I went to a Jesuit school, and I didn't know. Okay. I called up one of the 3 Jesuits who were principally involved. I had tracked them down, and we got to talking, and I said I had a Jesuit background. I had gone to a Jesuit school. We talked. We found out we had a good rapport, and then all of a sudden I said, "Do you know what day it is?" And he said, "No." And I said, "You realize I'm calling you on Halloween," which was the truth. And we both had a laugh over that. And then we talked a little bit more. And he said, "Hey, by the way, I have a copy of the diary. Would you want me to send it to you?" And it was as simple as that.
Wow. That's amazing.
He put it in the mail. I asked him to put it in FedEx. He said, "No, mail will be good enough." And he sent it to me. And one day I got it, and that was the basis for the book.
Now,
it wasn't the only thing in the book. I did do a fair amount of research and talk to psychiatrists, talk to other priests. The basis of the book is a diary.
Right, of course. Now, can you read us a little excerpt of this diary, which describes part of the process of this exorcism?
Sure. Yeah, this is a direct quote out of the diary. Wednesday, March 16th. Entry. Father Bowden began the prayers of exorcism. R, meaning Robert, was awake, and the overhead light in the bedroom was kept burning. Kept his hands outside the bed covers. 3 large parallel bars were scratched on the boy's stomach. The most distinct markings on the body were the picture of the devil on R's right leg, and the word hell imprinted on R's chest. The devil was portrayed in red. The arms were held above his head and seemed to be webbed, giving a hideous appearance of a bat. 2 letters, G-O, and a third pointed away from the crotch, an indication which might have meant that the devil would leave by way of urination or excrement.
Right. Gosh, I mean, so this
is a pretty good diary.
It's graphic. I mean, that's something that's right out of the Exorcist book and movie. I mean, the description of this stuff manifesting. Do you believe it to be genuine?
Well, I believe that certainly the diary is genuine, and certainly the observations of the Jesuits are genuine. In the course of the 6 weeks or so in which the exorcism took place, 33 people witnessed some manifestation of it, according to the records that the Jesuits kept. Now, what were they seeing? I don't know what they were seeing. I can only tell you what they recorded as having been seen.
Right.
And this was the basis, as you mentioned, of the movie. The movie had a young girl, of course, as the demoniac, as they call it. They changed the girl because a girl is much more likely to have been the victim of a possession historically, and they also wanted to do as much as they could to prevent an identification of the boy, who, of course, by the time the movie came out, was no longer a boy.
Right. And we're going to talk about that.
The way of
Right. Thomas, we were going to talk about the movie and the differences right after we take a break for the news. We'll be right back.
A man in Colorado has recently captured on video what appear to be very small and fast-moving UFOs in the skies over the city of Denver. He caught these objects during the day with a video camera from a hilltop known as Federal Heights. Take a look. Whatever these objects are, they move so fast that they can't be seen with any clarity until the video's speed is slowed down. The unidentified man brought his footage to a local television news station, KDVR, and told them where and when he shot the UFOs as they flew in and out of the metro area. When the television station sent one of their own cameramen out to the same location to record the afternoon sky over the city, he too caught the same strange, small and fast-moving objects zigzagging through the air. A local aviation expert, Steve Cowell, was asked to look at the video footage and give his opinion as to what these objects are. Mr. Cowell was unable to identify the UFOs as either conventional aircraft or birds. Both NORAD and the FAA claimed that nothing was flying in the area during the times the footage was shot. Some who have looked at the footage feel the objects are simply bugs flying past the lens, but Mr. Cowell disagrees, adding that the objects could possibly be bits of light debris caught in strong air currents around the location where the videos were shot. We at 30-odd Minutes would like it known that, though we were in the region, this is not the mothership. We would have made our presence known with a big promotional banner hanging off the back of the ship. Lots of potential viewers in a city that size. I'm Andrew Lake, and oddly enough, that's the news.
And we're back. Thank you, Andrew Lake, with the news. Tonight, talking about possession and the Exorcist case, the case behind it. Andrew Lake, you saw the movie The Exorcist, of course, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's still, in my opinion, one of the scariest films ever made. Absolutely. It doesn't leave you once you've seen it.
And what did you think when you saw that movie? When did you learn that there was actually a potential real case behind it?
I heard shortly after the film was originally released. I remember seeing on the talk show, they were talking about the fact that this was based on a case, but it wasn't a girl and it was in another location. So, I mean, that probably scared me even more, the fact that this was based on something that actually happened.
Right. Now, I remember seeing it. That movie still frightens me to this day. It's just, I think, one of the greatest horror movies of all time, greatest horror stories. The Victim. Geez, Eric, seriously. You got to warn me. You can't just pop that up. Oh, my God. It still freaks me out. When you think about it, this poor girl, this innocent girl, she did nothing to warrant this horrible thing that happened to her. And yet she went through this thing. It was just, it was powerful. So Thomas, let's talk about the differences between the movie. And, we've got the movie poster. I think a lot of us have seen it. The differences between the movie and the real case. Because in the movie, she's crawling up the wall and down the stairs, and she's levitating. What actually happens in a real exorcism in the case of Robbie Doe?
The boy himself seemed to go into a kind of what they call a spell, almost like a coma. One of the things that one of the priests told me was the boy usually had his eyes closed, and this particular Jesuit was leaning in toward the boy when the boy suddenly lifted his hand and smashed the Jesuit in the face and broke his nose, all the time keeping his eyes closed. He also did a great deal of urinating, and at one point started speaking in an odd voice, but not in foreign tongue, but in English. Started talking about some Jesuits that came into the room, claiming to tell them what he knew that they had done in a sinful way. Supposedly he had the power to tell these facts. Whether that ever really happened or not, because that does not appear in the diary.
Okay.
A lot of mythology, of course, grew out of this whole thing. Okay. People talk about the room getting colder, about the bed lifting off the floor. A person who was there whom I interviewed said that never happened. But he did say that he did see the mattress move. He did see the scratches appear on the boy. He said he remembered one time a scratch moving up the arm of one of the boy's arms as if a cat was scratching, the kind of long scratches that a cat would incur on somebody. There was also the idea that the boy had great strength.
Right.
Again, the Jesuit I talked to about Howland said really he showed great strength, but he showed an uncanny ability to be able to punch out and spit in the faces of the Jesuits with his eyes closed. And he would suddenly exit that condition, and he would just be a normal young boy.
Right.
Again, most of this happened during the night, and rarely happened during the day.
Okay, interesting. Now, there's one scene
when it's finally over.
Sorry, Thomas, there's one scene in the movie where I just wanted to address. Sorry to talk over you here. We're having a quick audio issue. There's one scene in the movie where Reagan is using the Ouija board in the film, and it's William Peter Blatty, of course, uses this, I think, as the device. It's a very brief scene where the demon gets into the girl, and I'm curious, in the real case, was a Ouija board ever mentioned? Because in the paranormal community, there's lots and lots of talk about how the Ouija board was the culprit. This was the doorway that the demon used to get into the child. Was there any mention of a Ouija board in the real case?
Yeah, the boy had an aunt who not only believed in the Ouija board, but also believed in the ability to get to the dead, to communicate with the dead.
Okay.
And she and the boy used the Ouija board together. She died of natural causes around the time this all started. And the family did make that connection. When I started looking into the business of the connection between the exorcism and the Ouija board, there was no question that there was a connection. Now I'm trying to be rationalist about this.
Sure.
I talked to several psychiatrists. One of the theories about the Ouija board is that the Ouija board tells you things that you wish you could say yourself, or things that you were very deeply buried inside you, and you could blame it on a demon coming to the Ouija board.
Right.
But that your subconscious was actually operating the Ouija board.
Right.
That was the theory. I mean, that's the sort of rational theory.
I'm curious if any did the
Ouija board. No question in my mind. I mean, I heard so many stories about the Ouija board. It certainly.
Right. My question was: did the priests, did the clergy mention the Ouija board as part of the problem?
I just feel that it's connected to. No, they never mentioned it. Although I found out about it. And it does show what they did in besides producing a day-by-day record, they have a kind of what they call the case history. And in the case history, in which they talk to members of the family and try to get a feel for who the kid was, what he was like, in that case history, they mentioned the Ouija board.
Okay, interesting.
And there was some theory that the aunts may have sexually molested the child, in theory, but it was never borne out. That was one of the theories about it. Because the theology involved is that the person who is visited by a demon has come close to evil, although has not performed the evil herself or himself, but had been close to it, and the evil sort of migrated into that person, even though that person was not guilty of anything that was evil.
In our last couple of minutes,
so
I'm curious how the case ended.
One of the ways that they connect the Ouija board.
For Robbie, how did the exorcism work? Was he okay? And what became of his life?
Yeah, I mean, what happened? It went on and on, and it was repetitious. I mean, every night they would repeat the same prayers, and they had an idea that everything was going to change on Easter, and it didn't happen on Easter. It didn't come to an end, and they were getting kind of weary of it, and wondering whether it was all going to work. By this time, the boy is confined in a mental hospital. They moved him from a home to the hospital because they felt that he might turn violent. And he had turned violent. He became more and more agitated. And then one day, he just sat up in bed and said, "It's gone." And there was the sound of an explosion, as if a gun had gone off in the mental hospital. Many people said they heard that. And they instinctively went into the room, and there was a kid sitting up in bed with a big smile on his face, and it was over.
Wow.
Just like that.
And just, I mean, of course, that wouldn't make a good ending to a movie, but that's how these things go. But so what became of him as an adult? Is he still alive? Is he still around?
Well, everything I know about him as an adult was that he lived a normal life, married, had a couple of kids, named the first boy Michael after the archangel that fights the devil more than any other archangel, and an archangel he had seen in a vision during his stay in the hospital. And so, he had no life, no memory.
Right. Sorry for the audio issues, folks. It's kind of cutting in and out on us. Thomas, as a closing thought, I'm curious why the Catholic Church wouldn't talk about this case a little more than they do. I think it would be good for business, quite frankly.
Why church make
I'm sorry, I didn't quite get it, but
just
why the Catholic Church still has exorcism?
Or why wouldn't they talk about this case a little more?
For exorcism in people. I mean, there's a great number of exorcisms all over the country, and all over the world. There's never been any great enthusiasm about talking about the case. There's very, very little written about it. And when I talked to a priest about this, he pointed out that in theology, what you learn about is goodness and the good life and how to be a decent human being, and you don't learn about evil. There is a feeling that evil has a touch, and the touch of evil is what you try to avoid. As a result, we don't know much about evil.
Right. Interesting stuff. Thomas Allen, thank you so much for joining us tonight. The Exorcist case, the book is called Possessed. It's an incredible backstory to the movie that we all know and scared the hell out of us all those years ago and still does to this day. And we appreciate you being here with us. And, of course, we'll have links to his website and his book from ours. Folks, until next time, stay safe, stay odd. Thank you.